In this video we are going to talk about top 10 things not to do in Japan. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for future updates before starting this video. Are you visiting Japan for the first time? There's never been a better time than now, with the Rugby World Cup just over and the Tokyo Olympics on the horizon. However, most international visitors have a few burning questions before they visit. What are the must-dos and must-nevers in Japan? Is avoiding looking like a tourist going to be difficult? Especially if I'm of Western ancestry? Given that foreigners make up just 1.5% of Japan's population, and Westerners only 0.01% of that, it seems that the odds are stacked against you. Never fear, I've put together this guide to Japanese etiquette to show you that they don't have to be. It's how you behave that will reveal your true identity. We'll look at all the ways you can be an invisible tourist in Japan in this installment of my Be Invisible series. With these Japanese manners, you'll learn how to dress for a trip to Japan and ride in a polite and conscientious manner, ensuring that you have the most pleasant trip possible. They have a reputation for Japanese culture and etiquette. At some point during a conversation about travels to Japan, the subject of how things work in this incredible country is bound to come up. In comparison to where some of us come from, their particular customs, social norms, and laws that govern public life and relations can be very different. Although tourists and expats are given some leeway in terms of not knowing local etiquette, knowing a few basics can go a long way, especially if you're thinking about, or have already settled down, in Japan. Here are the top don'ts to keep in mind when visiting this culturally diverse country. Number 1. Don't be loud on public transportation. Public transportation, like every other public space, is notorious for being overcrowded and therefore uncontrollably producing noise. Anyone who has ever taken public transportation in Japan can attest to how deafeningly quiet it is. Almost all commuters are engrossed in their tablets, listening to music, watching videos, or reading, but it's uncommon to see someone making a phone call. To honor other commuters, Japanese commuters place their phones on silent mode and do not talk on them while on the train. Any group engaged in face-to-face conversation often uses hushed tones. Number 2. Don't misuse chopsticks. In Japan, there is a kind of chopstick etiquette, believe it or not. In any nearby Japanese restaurant, there is almost no chance of being served with a fork, so chopsticks are the way to go. Picking up a few stern no-nos will go a long way toward avoiding glares from the locals. For starters, never put your chopsticks in a bowl upright, as this resembles a funeral rite. If you need to put your chopsticks down, do so around your bowl or in a chopstick holder to the left, if there is one. Number 3. Don't tip. Tipping is customary in Japan. Don'ts and dos tipping is a part of the community in some countries. Tipping is not a part of the Japanese society. Strong customer service is profoundly rooted in Japanese culture, as is a high degree of courtesy and politeness. Tipping, or even leaving change, may be seen as insulting because it implies that the worker is offering good service for monetary compensation when it is already anticipated. Some might even believe you have forgotten your change and pursue you to return it. Number 4. Don't wear shoes in someone's home. It can come as a surprise to some, but in Japan, you can never, ever wear your shoes inside someone's house. The same etiquette applies in certain ryokans, temples, and shrines, so be conscious of the situation. Before entering these locations, leave them outside. Some houses can also have house slippers, which you can use. Furthermore, some toilets have special slippers for this purpose, and it's important to remember to switch them while using the restroom. Don't be surprised if some restaurants, especially those with a more traditional menu or those where you sit on a tatami, require you to remove your shoes before entering. It's just the way things are done in Japan. Number 5. Don't give and/or receive things with one hand. If ever, foreigners will be given a free pass in this case. Receiving and giving items with both hands is not something that most people are aware of, let alone instinctive about. Some people like to do it with only one, but this is considered unusual in Japan. As a respectful gesture, use both hands and finish with a subtle bow or nod. When it comes to business cards, which are more often received and sent with both hands, take a few seconds to look at and read the card carefully when you receive it. This demonstrates that the card is more than just another piece of paper. Number 6. Don't ignore cues. The The Japanese love and loyalty to the queuing system may seem strange or unusual to others, but it is second nature to them. If you see tidy rows of queues for buses, trains, restaurants, or even elevators, don't be surprised. Simply join the queue and obey it in one continuous stream. On train platforms, there are sometimes markings on the floor indicating where you can queue when waiting for the train. When the trains arrive and the doors open, it goes without saying that you should wait for the passengers to disembark before boarding. Number 7. Don't be late. The Japanese respect their time and are usually on time, if not early, when they have an appointment or a meeting scheduled. There's no need for us to be late because buses and trains are always on time, unless there's some kind of maintenance, which happens infrequently. It's humiliating to be late in Japan, and it's even more uncomfortable when someone else is waiting for you after the scheduled meeting time has passed. Keep yourself safe from them by being on time. Number 8. Don't jaywalk. In Japan, rules are followed and obeyed, which is possibly why almost everything runs so smoothly. Although the roots and reasons for why jaywalking is prohibited in Japan are rather self-evident, don't you think? The traffic lights don't take long to change, and there's still a road worker on hand to help with traffic flow if there's a construction or failure of some kind. First and foremost, avoid the danger of someone following your lead and jaywalking by actually not doing so. Number 9. Don't eat or smoke while walking. By walking while munching on sweets, some of us are guilty of killing two birds with one stone. Unfortunately, Japan does not share this viewpoint. It's also considered impolite to do so. It's best to stop spilling or losing pieces of your snacks, which might dirty the walkways and cause someone else to step on them. People always queue outside Family Mart and Lawson convenience stores until they have finished their snack and discarded the wrapper. Smoking while walking is often considered impolite. There are dedicated smoking areas where smokers can puff their cigarettes as much as they want, but not on the streets. The idea is to keep the smoke from the cigarettes out of the way, and out of the faces of those around them. Overall, they're both unconcerned with others' feelings. Number 10. Don't blow your nose in public. Sniffling, rather than blowing your nose, is a better choice in China than it is in the West. Turn away from the crowd and rub your nose with a tissue if you find yourself in the unpleasant circumstance of your nose being a little trickly and annoying. If you really must blast, do so in a more private place, such as the bathroom. Last but not least, the etiquette described above appears to be a lot to take in, and there are many more, but seeing it as respecting the Japanese culture and traditions in their home country makes it easier to understand. When you think about it, most of them are common courtesy that some of us already practice, but when everyone in a country does it, it can seem strange. Without order and system, Japan will not be Japan, so let us do our best to blend in. What are your thoughts on our video? Do you want to add any other tip to our list? Please let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to hear from me again, please subscribe and turn on the notification before leaving. Thank you for watching us.